Cambridge. Welcome to What's That About, where we answer all your questions about the pressing issues of the day, brought to you by CCTV.
We bring you the world, one story at a time. So actually, I guess it's just like a tiny piece of the world, like a mid-sized boulder or something.
All right, well, our first question comes from Walter on Robert Street. Walter asks, the primary midterm elections are coming up in Cambridge on September 1st, and for once there are several contested seats for state office. Can you help me figure out who I, a concerned Cambridge progressive, should vote for?
Uh-oh, Julie. Is it time for the 2026 election preview?
I guess it is. Primary voting day is this September 1st in Massachusetts, but mail-in and drop-box voting is already going on as we speak. And if you're not sure which district you're in, you can go find my district online here.
And remember, people, in the local races in Deep Blue Cambridge, all the serious candidates are Democrats. If you want your vote to count, vote in the primary. I would like to add that it is weird that this important election just so happens to fall on move-in day, when many young voters and college students will be preoccupied with relocating, and maybe not paying as much attention to the election as older voters.
That is weird, isn't it? It's almost like the powers that be on Beacon Hill want to protect incumbents and keep new voters out of the process. Of course, we here at What's That About would never traffic in such unsubstantiated conspiracy theories.
Of course not, Julie. We totally would. So let's set the stage for this election. Anyone who watches this show knows that we think Beacon Hill is an opaque, corrupt sinkhole where leadership likes to keep the electorate and even sometimes the rank and file representatives in the dark on the legislative process. Our show also doesn't like that all the power is concentrated in taciturn party hacks like Speaker of the House Ron Mariano, who only seems interested in arrogating power and has no talent or possibly even interest in making lives better for citizens.
And remember, Max, that 3 of the last 4 House speakers were convicted of felonies, while the 4th of the 4 speakers was named as an unindicted co-conspirator by the federal government.
Right, Julie. At the last debate for the 25th Middlesex House seat, Marjorie Decker claimed several times that Evan Mackay was not running against her record, but against Beacon Hill in general. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but based on the performance of the House, there's certainly something to be said about why that strategy might resonate with voters. Our state legislature is famously ineffective, passing the least number of bills in the country year after year, ignoring or shelving popular and important legislation like Medicare for All and important environmental reforms.
It even took the legislature 1.5 years into Trump's second term and countless local ICE kidnappings for the state to finally pass the PROTECT Act to try to address the fascist attack on Massachusetts residents.
And the act still maintains an official relationship between the state and the fascist brown shirts of ICE, the only blue state in the country to do so. So at least from this show's point of view, and many other government advocacy groups like Act on Mass and the Committee to Restore Our Legislature, the status quo on Beacon Hill does need changing. Everything we say from here on will reflect this point of view.
The first race we'll talk about is the 25th Middlesex District, which is entirely situated in Cambridge between Central and Porter Squares. This is a rematch of 2 years ago where Rep. Marjorie Decker won by only 41 votes against newcomer Evan Mackay. If you go to their respective websites, these 2 candidates do seem to share a lot of similar political views. Decker is also the chair of the Joint Committee on Public Health and has a record of supporting important public health issues, the right to shelter, and other progressive causes.
Right, but Evan Mackay is largely approaching this race as a fight for transparency and accountability, calling out Decker's refusal to support the state audit. Mackay also noted in a CCTA forum that I moderated that Rep. Decker is a member of the leadership team and votes with Speaker of the House Ron Mariano nearly 100% of the time. Also, she was publicly against making committee votes public by rule, possibly until the last election, although it's unclear because the last vote was a voice vote.
The amendment, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The nays have it. The amendment is not adopted.
It's worth noting that Ms. Decker now supports making committee votes public and the other improved committee transparency rules that recently passed with the support of the rest of the House leadership in the wake of the 2024 election. For more information on the candidates, we spoke to both Evan and Marjorie for this show, with the interviews available at What's That About's YouTube page here. Boop. You can also view a recording of the CCTA debate on their website here. Boop.
Let's move on to the other races. In the 24th Middlesex, which includes portions of Cambridge near the Alewife Brook Parkway, along with Arlington and Belmont, incumbent Dave Rogers is facing opponent Nomita Ganguly, his first challenger in 6 years. Mr. Rogers chairs the Joint Committee on Higher Education, where he has worked to make community college free.
Ms. Ganguly is a former legislative aide and a lobbyist working for nonprofits that promote access to health care for older residents. Interestingly, Ms. Ganguly has been endorsed by Cambridge City Council members Sumbul Siddiqui and Jeevan Sabrina Wheeler.
Also of note, Representative Rogers is the only Cambridge representative who did not agree to debate his opponent when asked by my other group, the CCTA. We expect to have a full interview with Ms. Ganguly up on our website by the time this show posts. We will not have an interview with Mr. Rogers.
The other Cambridge House district with a competitive primary is the 26th Middlesex, which includes a large swath of Cambridge centered around Cambridgeport, the Port, and East Cambridge. Progressive incumbent Mike Connolly is facing Neil Miller, a first-time candidate and former Fed data scientist who helped found the YIMBY housing group, A Better Cambridge.
Representative Connolly has long been a progressive favorite, running from the left to beat out longtime East Cambridge incumbent Tim Toomey in 2016. Connolly has made a name for himself by often being one of the few Democrats to vote against some of Speaker Mariano's bills, like the bill to cut taxes on wealthy people in the wake of the passage of the Fair Share referendum.
And he voted for public committee votes before they were popular and supported the voter referendum allowing the state auditor to audit the House. You can watch the CCTA forum between the two candidates on their YouTube page here. Boop.
Finally, there are also two competitive Senate races in Cambridge this year. In the second Middlesex, Pat Jalen is retiring from her seat, leaving it open in the primary. The second Middlesex includes parts of West Cambridge and Fresh Pond, along with Somerville, Bedford, Arlington, and Winchester.
Running this year are Cambridge City Council Vice Mayor Burhan Azim, Somerville State Representative Christine Barber, Somerville Council President Matt McLaughlin, and Somerville State Rep Erica Eiderhoven. It's a lot of strong progressive voices coming at the election from different angles.
Of the candidates, Rep Barber is more of the insider in the State House, chairing the Joint Committee on the Environment and Natural Resources. Rep Eiderhoven is an outspoken transparency advocate, helping to found Act on Mass, which doesn't exactly endear her to leadership.
Cambridge City Vice Mayor Burhan Azim is probably most familiar to Cambridge voters, where he has been a strong advocate for building new housing and promoting public transportation and bike safety. Last but not least, Matt McLaughlin is a Somerville City Councilor who previously was a volunteer coordinator for Bernie Sanders and a campaign manager for Pat Jelen.
Yeah, I bet this race poses the toughest choice for progressive voters, so do your own research. I mean, not like in a creepy QAnon way, though, like do actual research. We interviewed Burhan for the show, available here. Boop. And the CCTA hosted a forum featuring all of the candidates here. Boop.
The last competitive race is the Senate Suffolk and Middlesex seat, which includes parts of Cambridge, Boston, and Watertown. This is an interesting one because longtime Senator Will Brownsberger is Senator pro tem, essentially the second in command of the Senate.
And Brownsberger has not been afraid to speak his mind about issues that will be unpopular to transparency advocates. He's publicly against the voter-approved audit, supports limits on public records law that appears will soon be passed by voter referendum, and was against Boston Mayor Wu's tax increases on businesses to ease off taxes on residents.
Daniel Lander, a Cambridge native, is a strong transparency advocate and a former Wu aide, so this race also appears to be a proxy battle between the status quo on Beacon Hill and a Wu-backed challenger.
The amount of local endorsements against a powerful incumbent in this race is remarkable, and the 3 Watertown City Councilors recently switched their endorsement from Brownsberger to Daniel Lander, and 4 Cambridge City Councilors have endorsed Lander along with Auditor Diana DiZaglio and Senator Elizabeth Warren. Again, the CCTA Lander-Brownsberger debate is available here. Boop.
In races for federal office, U.S. House Representative and Party Whip Catherine Clark faces challenger Jonathan Paz. There has not been much buzz about this race, but that doesn't mean Catherine Clark shouldn't face some heat. After all, she's a member of a Democratic Party leadership that has made little, if any, effort to stop the fascist overthrow of our government.
Also nationally, Senator Ed Markey is facing House Rep Seth Moulton in the primary. Seth Moulton famously threw trans kids under the bus after the last election, saying, "Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone." And he called for a new approach from the party on transgender issues, according to the New York Times. He said, "I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete, but as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that." Well, as a human being with an ounce of empathy, you're not supposed to say that either, Seth, so f*** you. Personally, because of Seth's statements and several other issues, I'd vote for just about any Democrat over Seth Moulton. However, Ed Markey has also been one of the few people on the left to show fight against the idiot Trumpers in the federal government, and he's been strong on the environment, even if he's older than I'd like.
And this has been the 2026 election preview. For the primaries anyways. Max, now you're going to have to go back in and bleep out that f***ing curse word.
Ah, f*** me. Until next week, we'll see you first.